Election day is almost here. Ahead on Face the State. Big money on the ballot this year. A major bond issue for Columbus, plus police, fire, and school levies for others across central Ohio. And city council and school board races. Before you head out to your polling location, we have what you need to know to make sure your vote counts. Also, a school board campaign ad sparking questions. A candidate for Southwestern City Schools used artificial intelligence to create fake videos of their opponent.
How do you feel you were depicted in this ad?
Definitely not accurate.
10 TV's Kevin Landers is getting answers on whether the ad violates Ohio election law. Plus,
so this is the living room, and it's a special room. We love having the piano. Here it's a Baldwin piano made in Cincinnati, Ohio.
First Lady Fran DeWine takes us on a tour of the historic Governor's Mansion. It turned 100 years old this year. We'll take a look at the history of the house and some of the things that make it special. Face the State starts now. Thanks for joining us for Face the State. I'm Doug Petcash. As a key deadline loomed that would cut off aid for millions of Americans who depend on Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program or SNAP benefits, Governor Mike DeWine took action to protect Ohioans. On Thursday, DeWine and Republican House and Senate leaders announced a plan to provide up to $25 million of support for food assistance. This was in direct response to the high possibility of SNAP benefits running out yesterday because of the federal government shutdown. The governor's executive order directs the Ohio Department of Job and Family Services to give $7 million to various Ohio food banks and up to $18 million in emergency relief benefits to more than 63,000 Ohioans. That includes 57,000 kids who are at or below 50% of the federal poverty level. In a statement, the governor said, "While we will always do everything we can to support Ohioans who need it most, this is not a viable long-term solution. SNAP is a federal program that is specifically federally funded. The best solution remains the simplest one: pass the continuing resolution and reopen the federal government." Turning now to a very important day this week. Election Day is Tuesday. It's not a midterm or presidential election, but there are many key issues on the ballot for Central Ohio. That includes a $1.9 billion bond package for Columbus, police and fire levies for Franklin, Blendon, Jackson, and Mifflin townships, and school levies for 5 Central Ohio school districts. This in addition to area city council and Board of Education races. Elections officials say turnout for off-year elections like this is always much smaller than presidential elections, but activity picked up in the last week. Franklin County Board of Elections spokesman Aaron Sellers told us about 70% of people who vote early in person vote in the last week. Voters we talked to say they feel a sense of duty to cast a ballot.
I just think it's a privilege we have as Americans to be able to vote. And I get very annoyed with the people who set out.
Just knowing the importance of voting and wanting to do so every opportunity I have.
So is this your first time voting?
It is.
What brought you out today?
Just my grandparents and parents really said it's a good thing to do, and I think I support that.
How did it go for you?
It went well. It was a little confusing, but got it done.
Polls will be open Tuesday from 6:30 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. Absentee ballots must be postmarked no later than November 3rd, tomorrow. You can drop off absentee ballots at your Board of Elections office by 7:30 p.m. on Election Day. Early voting is still open today from 1 to 5 p.m. at your Board of Elections office. There is no early voting tomorrow. You can get more voter information on the Secretary of State's website at voteohio.gov. That includes your polling location and your sample ballot. To vote, you will need a valid photo ID. Those include the list on your screen. an Ohio driver's license, a state of Ohio ID card, a U.S. passport, a U.S. military ID, and a Department of Veterans Affairs ID. We made it easy for you to get everything you need to know about Election Day right on your phone. Just text the word VOTE to 614-460-3345. You'll get a link to our website that has everything you need to know before Tuesday, including all the key issues and a link to the Secretary of State's website so you can check your voter info. A controversial political ad for a local school board race is raising questions about how far some are willing to go to get votes. The AI-generated ad involves the race for Southwestern City School Board. The question we are seeking to answer, does the ad violate any state campaign laws? 10 TV reporter Kevin Landers explains.
We're not using the audio from this Southwestern City School Board political ad because the creators told us the audio was generated using artificial intelligence. In short, it's fake audio from the candidates they're running against.
Do you regret putting the video out?
No, I don't.
Why not?
At all. I think it's worked as far as getting our message out.
The ad appeared on the Facebook page of the 3 candidates running for the school board. It generated both positive and negative comments. School board candidate Camille Peterson was featured in the ad, in which her voice and image were AI generated.
My voice does not match to the voice that's in that video. But my running mates, for example, Chelsea Alkire and Kelly Dillon, their voice is very close, similarly matched in that AI video. So someone can actually think that they think that way.
The ad claims she made comments about siding with a certain group of voters whose votes the ad claims she needs to win.
Did she actually say that in public?
I'm not aware of that.
Okay, so it may not be factual.
Well, I don't know, to be honest with you.
Making it sound like I am not capable to make my own decisions is very offensive, and it is disappointing.
But is the ad illegal? The Ohio Elections Commission says Ohio law basically says you can say what you want when it comes to political ads. It's protected speech. A legal expert tells 10 TV it's unclear if this ad violates Ohio law because Ohio law on AI is unclear. While the creators of the ad say the video clearly states it's AI generated by using the words AI Truth Translator at the bottom, they went on to say they didn't mean for it to insult, belittle, or spread hate or create division. Their opponents don't see it that way.
This is not a funny joke. There's nothing lighthearted about that.
So how best to differentiate between an AI-generated ad and a real one? What should you look for? An AI expert at Ohio University says we need to use something called the 4 S's. They are stop, as in stop and think about what you just watched. Sense check. How did the video make you feel? Scrutinize. Play the video a few times. AI has trouble with eyes and hands and mouths and skin tones too. Even the lighting may look off. And lastly, think about the source. Where are you watching it? Who is posting it? Is it a credible source? Where else can you find the video?
Ask yourself, am I feeling fear, anger, disgust, humor? These are some of the strong emotions that people draw on in videos like this. Is it too perfect? Is it too sensational? Is it too shocking? And then ask yourself, who stands to gain if I believe this video and if I share this video? Personally, I think that there's a lot of work for politicians to work on regulating AI, this kind of thing, and other aspects of the industry that have real effects on people.
Professor Shovlin says there is no magic bullet to decipher real from fake as the technology keeps getting better. He says it's up to all of us to improve our AI literacy so we don't get duped. Still ahead on Face the State, possible changes for a type of sports gambling known as prop bets. Some states are looking to ban them. Hear what Governor DeWine has to say about it. And next,
I kind of love this old part of the house.
on a tour of the governor's mansion with First Lady Fran DeWine, she shows us some of the nooks and crannies and the historic and artistic parts of the grand old house. Next.
Yeah, see, it's all the dishes. So. You have a few plates.
100 years is a major milestone. One of the best known homes in Ohio has now hit the century mark. It's commonly known as the Governor's Mansion, but its official name is the Ohio Governor's Residence and Heritage Garden. First Lady Fran DeWine was kind enough to spend nearly 2 hours with us this past week to show us around the historic home and expansive gardens. It's a story you'll see only on 10 TV. The Governor's Residence and Heritage Gardens sit on 3.5 acres on the corner of North Park and Maryland Avenues in Bexley. The 16,000 square foot home with 25 rooms was built in 1925 by businessman Malcolm Jeffrey in the Jacobean architectural style.
And this is the welcoming foyer. So if you walk in, you'll see this huge, I kind of love the doors in this house, Not only are they beautiful arches, but if you see the thickness of the doors, I think this is really pretty amazing, the thickness of this door. And, the cute little things like the little peephole. This is one of my favorite doors right here, the little peephole. So it's kind of a fun entrance.
First Lady Fran DeWine showed us some of the historic and artistic touches throughout the home. Most of the art was done by Ohio artists or is on loan from the Ohio History Connection.
And so one of the things I wanted to point out was this is part of the Buckeye Suite. When Janet Voinovich was First Lady, William Seal, who's a designer, architect, did a lot of work at the White House, also did our State House when we did the renovation, and he did some work here. And so Janet Voinovich gave him like a banana box full of Buckeye branches, and he had the Buckeye Suite. He had these hand carved. So I think they're really kind of cool. They've got the, you can see the Buckeyes. Some people just look at them as ornate, but when you actually focus in on that being a Buckeye branch and Buckeyes, I think that's kind of cool.
You were talking about this painting that's here above the stairs.
So this was done by Howard Chandler Christie, and it actually, belongs to the History Connection. But it's been on loan here. Actually, Janet Voinovich, since Janet Voinovich was First Lady, and I think it's kind of significant that he's a very famous artist. He did the Battle of Lake Erie, which is actually here at the State House and at the U.S. Capitol, and he did the signing of the Constitution at the U.S. Capitol. But he was born in Morgan County in Ohio.
The home was donated to the state in 1955. This old film from 1957 shows craftsmen renovating the home, working on the ornate windows and main staircase, getting it ready to become Ohio's executive residence. Governor C. William O'Neill was the first governor to live here. Governor Mike DeWine is the 11th. Which room are we entering now?
So we're entering the dining room, and this is a room that we use a lot, when Mike was first elected. One way that we got to know all the legislators, the people in the General Assembly, is inviting them a few at a time for breakfast. And that was, I could talk about the Imagination Library, Mike could talk about some of the things he wanted to do. They could tell us their feelings. So it was a good way just to get to know everybody. And so this is the living room, and it's a special room. We love having the piano. Here it's a Baldwin piano made in Cincinnati, Ohio. And this is a very comfortable room. The Kasichs did not live here, but Karen Kasich did an incredible job of returning it to its original colors and putting comfortable furniture in as well so that you could live as a family and entertain, and not all antiques. And so she put these beautiful blue sofas here. And this is Elijah Pierce, a Columbus artist. This is a portrait of him. He was a barber, and he did a lot of wood carvings, mostly of Bible stories.
How significant is it that this house is now 100 years old?
Well, I think it's exciting. It represents a place in time, when Columbus was growing, and this was the suburbs, and beautiful homes being built here. And I think any elegant house needs to celebrate its 100th birthday.
And what do you enjoy about living here?
I enjoy having company here. I enjoy, it's a beautiful house, beautiful gardens, and I enjoy showing it to people, when we have guests, just letting them be able to walk around and look at it. And I always tell them, this isn't my house. This is our house. This is Ohio's house. And so I like to show it off.
I think I've done interviews with the governor in this room before.
This is one of his favorite places to do interviews. This is the governor's study. That's what's known as the governor's study. And if you look at the old pictures, these chairs, and this has been here for a long time. So it's really kind of cool. The big globe here, Janet Voinovich bought this at a tag sale, and it's at a tag sale locally. And it's kind of fun to look at it because the countries have changed a lot since then. Some of the furniture, like these pieces, were actually made in the Mansfield Reformatory. You know, it was built. The reformatory was built in the 1870s. You know, as you know, to help reform young men and teach them skills and woodworking skills. And so these were carved there, and the picture frame there is carved from there. So
it's so ornate too, with
yes,
the faces.
Yeah, they're kind of fun. So
The Residence has hosted some very well-known names over the years: Martin Luther King Jr., Walter Mondale, George W. Bush, and more.
if you look at this picture, this is Governor C. William O'Neill, and this is John F. Kennedy and Edward Kennedy. This is Governor Rhodes and Ronald Reagan, and this is the day he endorsed him. And after he endorsed him, someone asked Governor Rhodes, well, why did you endorse him today? And he said, yesterday would have been too early and tomorrow too late. So.
Just off the governor's study is the Great Room. The governor and first lady hold meetings and host dinners and other events here.
We actually found the original drawings of the house. And so this is, so we had this framed for this special year. So this is the drawing of the house in 1925. And then
So that is the actual drawing?
That's the actual drawing.
And you just had it framed this year?
We just had it framed this year. We just found it. You know, somewhere in some archive somewhere we found it. So that's and then the blueprints were there. And the blueprints are kind of interesting. This is just the first floor. But if you do the blueprints of the basement, there's like 2 coal rooms, there's an organ room, just all sorts of things that you wouldn't think of, you know.
An organ room?
Yeah. I don't know whether they had a big organ here. I don't know the music. I don't know. I have no idea. But anyway, it's kind of fun to see and how it's changed a little bit.
Mrs. DeWine then took us to a place the public never gets to see on tours, behind the scenes in the kitchen.
I kind of love this old part of the house because it really shows, you know, if you look here, you actually see, you know, the china. What do you think that's?
Oh.
So there's the china and the crystal and everything. You know, it's all kind of laid out here, and it's a working kitchen. You can see the dishes are in the sink. It's, you know, but you know, great freezers and refrigerators, and look, Jason made some bread today. So, but see the old equipment. It's still Hobart. It's still great equipment.
I guess I expected this to be bigger.
You know, we would like it to be bigger a lot of times, but it is what it is. In an old house, you work with what you have. All right, there she goes.
And we're coming out into the Heritage Gardens?
Yes, we are. So this is really kind of a special place. So when Hope Taft was First Lady, she established a set of gardens that represent the different areas in Ohio. And so we have Tall Prairie Gardens, we have Sand Dune Gardens, we have an Appalachian Garden. So we have all these different kinds of gardens, and it's fun. And on Wednesdays, we have volunteer gardeners that come. Hope Taft still organizes them, and we have between 30 and 50 gardeners on any day.
The grounds also include water gardens, complete with colorful fish and a resident turtle named Spike.
The children love this. We have nets on here right now because we've had some blue herons take some of our fish. Oh, there's Spike. So Spike is our turtle. I don't know how many years I think he's been here for over 20 years. But he's a red slider. Now this had, you know, a couple of weeks ago, this had cattails growing in it, very tall cattails. So it was sort of like a jungle and he could hide. But there he is now. We cut it down for the winter time. But my contribution is the Storybook Trail, so that's what I'm going to show you. So, and this is a willow oak. And if you look, you know, there's holes under it. You know, so I knew some of them go way deep into it and under it, so I knew that Peter Rabbit must live here. So I figured we'll do the tale of Peter Rabbit. So this is where it starts.
Kids can explore Peter Rabbit's story at different stations throughout the Heritage Garden.
Then she goes to the Bunny Bakery, and so to get brown bread and currant buns, and so I had to make a bunny bakery. So this is my bunny bakery that I made, and when I have my little 4-year-old grandkids here, they think this is really the coolest thing. They'll mix up stuff and play around here, but I just made that from a flower pot, and you know, I pretended like I was a mother bunny, and I got, you know, the prettiest rocks I could find and some broken china, and even a broken arrowhead here in the middle. And so anyway, so the kids can put their stuff in the oven to cook.
The residence is eco-friendly with solar panels and underground cistern system to store water, and the gardens are organic. The First Lady says they use the vegetables grown here in meals at the residence and donate some produce to different organizations. Do you ever come out here and just kind of soak up the peace?
Yeah, it is. It's very, I like to walk out here at least every night. Me and Dolly come out here, and it's just kind of fun. And we have, like right around here, we have a lot of blackberries. There's none left now, but there's still, you can see these are blackberry bushes here. So, you know, so if kids are walking here and, you know, they can pick a blackberry. What food we don't use in the house, we donate. All those beds there they've just sort of covered them up now because everything is gone.
Mrs. DeWine says they've done a lot of things to keep the home and property in good shape, setting it on a solid foundation for the next 100 years. She says it's part of their job.
When you live here, you keep things up. You know, you see it every day, and so I think it's always important, you know, for the governor to live here just to make sure that everything stays, you know, in good repair, and houses that are lived in are better houses.
And you may have saw her there. The Dolly, the First Family's dog, followed us around the entire tour. And speaking of tours for the public, you can take a tour of the governor's residence and Heritage Garden. They are offered most Wednesdays throughout the year with special hours in December. You can schedule a tour on the Friends of the Ohio Governor's Residence website. The organization describes itself as a privately funded nonprofit dedicated to the preservation, conservation, and education of the historic home. Still ahead on Face the State, the impact of sports betting on the sports themselves. States are looking to take action to stop a very popular type of betting. Changes might be coming to a type of sports gambling known as prop betting. Those are wagers made on an individual player's performance. As we've reported, federal agents arrested an NBA player accused of tipping off gamblers that he was going to leave a game early with an injury. It was part of a blockbuster indictment recently. Here in Ohio, a pitch by a Cleveland Guardians baseball player got a lot of attention. In the third inning of a game, Luis Ortiz threw a pitch in the dirt. CBS News reports he was suspended soon after allegations that he might have done it on purpose to help gamblers who had bet on that pitch being outside the strike zone. Governor Mike DeWine now wants to ban prop bets in the Buckeye State. He had this to say on CBS Mornings this past week.
We saw states, one after another, rapidly approve sports gambling a few years ago. Was this not envisioned?
One pitch, you know, one shot of the basket. I don't think that's what most people thought of at that time, but it's clearly taken off, and it's clearly a problem.
Now, it's not only Ohio considering a change. Other states are proposing legislation to update their sports gambling laws to outlaw prop betting. Major League Baseball is working with other professional sports leagues to prohibit certain prop bets as well. The NCAA is delaying a rule change allowing college athletes to bet on pro sports. The rule was set to take effect yesterday. That date has now been moved back to November 22nd. This came after the commissioner of one college conference, the SEC, sent a letter to the NCAA expressing concerns about the rule change. Right now, college athletes are not allowed to bet on any sports. The landscape of high school sports in Ohio could soon change. A looming vote on name, image, and likeness deals by schools has the Ohio High School Athletic Association partnering with a national company. OHSAA is partnering with Influential Athlete, a company that trains schools and athletes on NIL rules. The partnership will give school leaders webinars, guidance, and resources. Schools that are part of the OHSAA will vote on new NIL language within the next 45 days. Thank you for joining me this week for Face the State. I'm Doug Petcash. I'll see you back here next Sunday at 11:30. Have a great day.